Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur, and let's talk about the surge upfront pricing that Uber has launched in a couple markets because this was something I was thinking about, and it was strange because this is obviously a very, very bad deal for the drivers. It's a bad deal for the passengers too, but it's especially a bad deal for the drivers. And for those of you who are not aware, quick recap: Uber in a few markets has replaced their surge from a multiplier to a set fee. That means that instead of getting 3 times or 4 times or 2 times as much as you normally for a ride, you would get a set amount extra per ride. Now, some people might be asking what's wrong with that. You're still getting more. The thing is, Uber is still charging a multiplier. So while they might give you $5 for a surge, they might charge the passenger $25, and you can see the problem with that. But my question was, why on earth was nobody complaining about it? Seriously, why were drivers in those areas not complaining about this, where they clearly get screwed? And someone who watches my channel shared the story about how this happened, and it made sense. And that's that Uber, even though they were screwing you, set it up in a way that basically there wasn't a whole lot to complain about when it launched. And this driver, told me the story of when he first noticed the difference in the surge and wondered what that meant. And he saw, oh yeah, it says $10 extra or $15 extra. And Uber gave pretty generous upfront pricing surges. So he would take a bunch of short trips with these $10, $15, sometimes $20 surges, go a couple blocks, and he's made an additional $20. Well, if you're doing really short rides, yeah, that surge multiplier, well, not a multiplier, that upfront surge, that could actually be really good. And so he didn't complain. In fact, he ended up driving more than he intended to because the surge was actually beneficial. He got one medium-sized trip on a $15 surge that he probably would have normally got 20. But you know what? Hey, with all the extra surge he was picking up with the short trips, everything was fine. And then, the next weekend he noticed the surges were like $8 and $9. And then the week after, it was like $5 to $4. And now they're like consistently $2 to $3. And what he has noticed is that it's still super busy. Like, he's actually turning on the Uber app and comparing like a trip that he would normally take, and he knows the distance, and he knows that it is probably surging way more than they're letting on. It's probably surging 5, 6 times, that he is getting pennies. Not only that, he has noticed that the amount of surge trips have shortened quite a bit. And he is much more likely to be put in a timeout from the app if he does not accept any non-surge trips, which, is pretty easy to do. And the surge moves around a little bit more. We've all kind of noticed this. We have the app on, we drive towards the surge, and it seems like once we start getting in the surge, it starts to go down. And that is because that's a bunch of drivers coming through to the same spot, and all of a sudden, there's no more lack of supply, and the demand is being met. So they lower the surge. But now it seems like anytime he even gets a little close to it, it goes away. It's almost like magic. It just moves all the time. And this is ultimately what I suspected. Now, of course, I can't prove it, but that seems like surge manipulation, which is, by the way, against Uber's terms of service. Although maybe the terms of service have it written so that they can manipulate the surge, but we can't. But that's how Uber's going to do it. When they launch it, they will actually make it fairly beneficial to the drivers, so the drivers don't quit en masse. And after a couple weeks, they'll start, lowering the surge. And before you know it, the drivers have gotten used to the new surge. They've gotten a taste that, it can get this high and it can be really beneficial, so we're not going to complain. And then before they know it, they are getting royally screwed. They are getting $50, $60, $80 taken from them from surge prices that the driver normally would have made that Uber is now making. And that $15 surge that Uber so generously gave you when they first launched it, now it's 2 or 3. And who knows how low it can actually get. I've even seen $1.25 in some cases. So if you wonder how on earth Uber even got away with a new surge in the new markets, it's because they launched it where it showed some real benefits. And that makes sense. Because if Uber launched something and it was clearly not beneficial, people would, quit driving. That's pretty obvious. So, I mean, and Uber Pool is really the only thing they've been able to launch that was just piss poor from the beginning and nobody said anything. Or at least they didn't stop driving. This surge has the potential to get people to stop driving, but Uber will launch it in a way that it is actually almost more appealing at first because you'll be getting a bunch of $10 or $15 on top of your rides for very short rides. And they'll do that to get you comfortable with the idea. And then before you know it, you won't be getting that $10, $15 per ride. Or if you do, it'll be for a long ride that you normally would have made an extra $50 for. So be vigilant. Be vigilant, sorry. You can't cave. You have to keep not driving. Have to keep writing to your local congressman. You have to keep trying to inform the passengers. You have to share videos like mine and Uberman's and anyone who's speaking out against this. You have to let other people in the Facebook groups know. You have to commit to protesting at the green hubs when the time comes. Again, I am putting together a plan, and hopefully it'll be an effective one if you guys are willing to put in the hard work. In the meantime, if this does come to your market and it seems pretty nice, like, hey, it's working right now, be warned, this is all by design. Uber knows that this is a bad deal for you, but they will do at least a little bit to make it seem like you're getting a good one. And before you know it, you're stuck with it. So anyway, just be cautious. And, as you all know, it's time to comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy these videos, consider becoming a patron member for $1 a month. And as always, flame responsibly, and I'll see you on the Daily Ride Share.